How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a crazy story coming out of a West Baltimore school. A senior in high school has a .13 GPA. Not a 1.3 GPA, that's bad enough, but a 0.13 GPA. He almost has a 0 grade point average. And that's not even the end of it. He's ranked 62 out of 120, which means he ranks near the top half of the class. His score is pretty much average. You're right there in the middle. There are 58 kids in this class of 120 that are doing worse than he is. How is this possible? Before I go any further, let's watch this video together just so we can see what's happening and so we're on the same page with each other.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala.
And I'm Kai Jackson. Tonight, we're learning the issues at Augusta Fells go far beyond just one student.
As Chris Papst explains in tonight's Project Baltimore report, the school has a history of drastically underperforming.
It's hard to believe that a student with a 0.13 GPA who missed hundreds of days in high school could be ranked.
Yeah, he missed 359 days in high school. When I was a kid, if you missed 10 days in a semester and a semester went for half of the year, if you missed 10 days, you would fail the class. He missed 359 days and only has passed, I think 2 or 3 classes in his entire high school career.
Ranked near the top half of his class. That is, until you take a closer look at where he goes to school. Tiffany France needs help.
Now, what does that do to his confidence? And as he grows,
That's the mom right there. And where are you at, lady? Okay, she'll talk about what's going on, but my question is, where have you been? What's going on with your child? He didn't miss pretty much every day in his whole career. He's bringing home F after F after F after F. What are you doing?
Is to come, what is his dreams? He don't know what to do. He probably feel like a complete failure.
She just learned her son, who she thought was a senior at Augusta Fells Savage Institute of Visual Arts in West Baltimore, has been moved back to 9th grade.
I don't know what to do with him. I refuse to let him be a statistic and really just be nice.
Look, okay, all right. I gotta talk about her. All right. A statistic, you're already past that point. This boy probably about 17, 18 years old. It's already too late. Okay. They say, when I say they, I mean, some academics, people with big brains, big IQ people that really know what they're talking about. I'm not trying to be facetious, but they say once you get to the 3rd grade and you don't know how to read or you're struggling with reading, it's pretty much a wrap. You got a whole grown man right here, 17, 18 years old. He can go join the military right now. If he has a 0.13 GPA, you're toast. So a statistic, you're way too late for that, ma'am. Where were you at for your child? How do you not know what's going on? How are you shocked all of a sudden now that he's got to go all the way back to the very beginning, that he's failing in this? And it's not even just him. It's a bunch of kids just like this. This is a failure of the child not going to school, of the school being a bad school, obviously, and of these parents not even really caring what's going on, acting all shocked at the very end when their kid barely has a grade point average at all.
Nothing. That's not going to happen on my watch. It's not going to happen.
According to her son's transcripts, in 4 years, he's earned 2.5 credits, passing.
Are you seeing these grades? Are you seeing? Of course. Look. You know what? And before, okay, all right, calm down, woosah. Before I watched this video, I was like, this boy probably not even going to school, and he might go to gym to play basketball, and that's it. Look at this. Health ed, 85, a B. Oh, of course, because that's a fun class, right? But art, how do you get a D in art? And how is that grade a D? That's an F, for real. Okay, biology, 56, F. Personal fitness, F. How do you get an F in personal fitness? What does that even mean? This right here, you can't see it because my camera is covering it, but that's stat prep math, 54, F. Fine arts, F. English, D. How do you do worse in arts than English? American government, F. Algebra, F. So you're not seeing these grades when he comes home from school? Do you even care? But I digress.
3 classes. He was late or absent to school 359 days. France says she didn't know any of this until February.
Really? So you didn't know that your child basically not going to school? You didn't know that for real? Come on. Like, stop.
Because prior to then, the school never told her, and her son was being promoted through the grades.
And you know what? It does happen. If you ever seen The Wire, they call it social promotion, because you don't want to be, like, especially like in middle school, you don't want to be a 14-year-old in a class with 11-year-olds. You know, you want to keep on just moving. You know, that's just kind of how it is. They don't really care too much about you passing or failing. It's social promotion. So you're not in a weird situation when you're with two younger kids and you're just way too old. They'll just pass you on through. So the school is failing, the boy is failing, or the man, I'm not sure how old he is, and the mother, it's failure all the way around.
Even though he failed most every class.
How do you come years later and say, this is what's happening and this is what we have to do for him? He have to start all over because we messed up. So he got to start all over. That's what this is. We messed up, so he got to start over.
Project Baltimore pulled the data for Augusta Fells. We found many students are struggling. The school's attendance rate is 27 points below the district average. Of the 434 students enrolled in 2019, 2 tested proficient in math and English.
That's failure. This is failure. Failure. And they may or may not mention this in this particular video. I've not seen this yet, but I read up on the school a little bit, and I think they get $17,000 per student. So it's not a matter of funding. They get plenty of money. So what's really the problem? You know, you got bad teachers, bad parents, bad kids. All three put them together, and you have this. Only 2 people can test proficient in math and English.
2. Yet 48%, nearly half the students, managed to graduate in 4 years.
And the graduation rate is terrible, but it's almost not even really worth it to graduate, because if only 2 people are proficient, not even stellar, like that's not proficiency, is not the equivalent to being stellar or gifted. That's just being able to read and being able to add 2 plus 2, basically. Okay, maybe do multiplication, long division, basic stuff, right? That's proficiency. That's not excellence. So if only 2 people out of 434 can do basic math and they know how to read, what's the point in graduating? Might as well just not even go. So on one hand, I can see where the kid is coming from. Why go to school that I can't even, if the school is not giving me a good education, what's the point in going?
All of this in a school that gets nearly $5.5 million a year from taxpayers.
This is a tragedy for taxpayers, but also the community.
David Williams is with the Taxpayers Protection Alliance.
Kids aren't prepared for the real world. It's that they're going through an educational system that doesn't care about them. The only thing they care about is funding. Because if they were truly concerned about education, there's no way that this kid would move up through high school.
Williams says the school, from the teachers to the principal to North Avenue, must be held accountable for not just this mother's son, but all the students at Augusta Fells. Francis' son's GPA of 0.13 gives him a class ranking of 62 out of 120.
Lord have mercy.
Which means 58 other students in his class have a 0.13 grade point average or lower.
They'll gladly stand in front of the cameras talking about, Kerwin and how much more money it's going to mean. But when questions like this come up, nope, they run and hide.
All right, so we got through that. That was crazy. Like I said, while I was talking about that particular clip, there's failure all the way around. There's plenty of blame to go around. You're talking about the kid, number one, not going to school, not taking initiative, the school for being a terrible school, because it ain't just him that has a bad GPA. It's the whole school. It's everybody. He was pretty much average with a 1.3. Like, okay, if you got 120 kids, right, he is ranked 62. That's right, almost at the middle. He has a median average. It may not be the average as far as the average of all 120, but his grade point average is right in the middle. And there's a bunch of kids that are worse than him. Who is the worst person? Who is the best person? And if only 2 people are proficient at reading and mathematics, I mean, you got a whole school of kids, 120 kids that are pretty much doomed. If you're in that situation, I say go ahead and drop out, start working. What's the point? They're going to try to start them back to the 9th grade. Why? If that same school was not able to get them on track from grade 9 through 12 and that whole 4-year term, what are they going to accomplish by sending them back to the very same class that he did not do well in from the jump? This is so dumb. But they got plenty of money. They got plenty of opportunities. Like, the school is getting plenty of money. So what's the problem? Parents, straight from the beginning, not teaching their kids reading and writing from an early age, from before they get to school. Here's what happens, and then I'll wrap it up, put the bow on the top. A lot of times, kids in these poor areas, a lot of times black kids, some white kids too, some Hispanics, what generally happens is there's zero education until they get to school, until they get to be about 5, 6 years old when they go to kindergarten, 1st grade, right? There's no preschool, there's no Sunday school, there's no nothing. They might go outside and know how to play sports and basketball and stuff like that, football, but they don't have any kind of, ability to read until they get to be in school. But by that time, they're already behind. Me, I had a stay-at-home mother when my parents were first married, before they got divorced, right? And my mom will always put me in front of Sesame Street and read books to me and not read books. And I developed a love for reading. Dr. Seuss books were great. I know, difference between there, and two, and two, because I used to read a lot. And I still read a lot. I have glasses, not because I'm trying to be fancy, but because I was a bookworm from an early age, learning how to read, learning how to write, learning how to do basic counting my numbers and writing my name and coloring the lines. So when I got to kindergarten, 1st grade, it was a breeze. I'm getting straight A's. And that followed all throughout my career. So in elementary school, middle school, high school, it was simple. I was in gifted classes just because I had, education early. I barely even had to study because I was already trained from the beginning to know basic stuff. Now, I'm not a rocket scientist over here. I'm of average intelligence. But anybody should know how to add 1 + 1 is 2. It's simple. But if you don't get taught anything at home, if you got a bad life at home, your parents don't really care, you missing their entire high school career and your parents don't know what's going on. You're not even if you're bringing report cards home and you see F, 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 and there's no red flags going off, that's your fault as a parent. That's your fault as a kid. And that's your fault as a school. I mean, we got these cell phones. Ain't nobody trying to, go on the cell phone and learn something. You doing a TikTok challenge. You doing all kind of stupid stuff on Instagram. Game banging on Instagram. It's so dumb. It's just ridiculous. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about the situation where you have basically just total failure in these schools? Whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. What can be done to fix it? $5.3 million in taxpayer funding, $17,000 per student from what I've been able to read. What more needs to be done? I think the ultimate goal that we need to try to accomplish is eliminating that welfare state. Okay, you got this mom with this boy. How many more kids does she have? Okay, how many more baby fathers are there? How much more failure are we just going to accept and tolerate as being the norm in the so-called black community before we do something to fix it? I don't know, but whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.